Good day. Today we're going to be looking at congruent triangles. Congruency means the shape and size, the angles and sides that are congruent. Every corresponding part has to be congruent. When writing a congruency statement, your A, same thing as it was for similar, corresponds with D, your B would correspond with E, and your C with F. The order you write it does matter. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. You need to know this statement. All right, number one. Triangle JKL is congruent to triangle PQR. What angles are congruent? Angle J is going to be congruent to angle P. Angle K is going to be congruent to angle Q. And angle L is going to be congruent to angle R. For sides, JK is going to be congruent to PQ. KL and QR. And lastly, LJ and RP. Write another valid congruency statement. I have one rule. I cannot start with J or P. So I'm going to write triangle KJL is congruent to. I flipped the position of J and K, that was it. I have to do the same thing for the next triangle. Triangle, so I'm going to flip P and Q, Q, P, R, finished. You could have done LKJ and RQP, KLJ, QRP. There are several ways you can write it, just make sure the order is consistent. Try number two. Given triangle KPM is congruent to AYC, complete the following statements. KP is congruent to AY. PM is congruent to YC. MK is congruent to CA. The angles here are also going to be congruent. So there's the triangle filled out. KM, which is the 3 tick marks, is congruent to CA. CY, 2 tick marks, is congruent to PM. PK, which is 1 tick mark, is YA. Angle ACY. Really, this is just angle C, which is 2 tick mark or 2 angle markers, which is congruent to angle M. I want you to try D and E. I'm going to look at H and let you do G. YAC. Actually, I'm going to do part G. MPK. This is dealing with this triangle. The order is MPK, so last one, middle, then first. Last, middle, first, CYA is the triangle. All right, Pause it and try DEH. And 2 if you didn't already. All right, let's look at number 5. Given the triangles are congruent, find each missing measure. Note first that this is an isosceles triangle, and I have congruency from GH to HJ. GH, according to the top, is the same thing as XY, and HJ is YZ. So these are all 27. G to J is the same thing as X to Z. So it is 18. XY is 27. ZY is 27. Because this is an isosceles triangle, I know that my two angles, Z and X, are going to be the same thing. And I know I can find this by doing 180 minus 38 degrees, which is equal to 142 divided by 2. 71 degrees for X and Z, which is the same as G and J. They're all 71. H is 38. Z is 71, J is 71. Finished. Try number 4. I want to look at number 7. And I'll let you try number 6. Given the triangles are congruent, find the values of X, Y, and Z. All right, for F, which is my Y, F is correlating to S. Those are my angle markers. For X, which is the H, it is corresponding to N, which is 115. So 6x minus 29 equals 115. The Z value at C is the same as P, which is 36. 4Z minus 32 equals 36. To find angle F and S, I can put 36 in this corner, and I know that this angle has to be equal to 180 minus the sum of 36 and 115. This is going to be equal to 18 degrees. No. That is going to be equal to 29 degrees. So 3y minus 1 equals 29. If you want, you can use Desmos. I'm going to work these by hand. 6x is equal to 144, which means x is going to be equal to 24. 4z is going to be equal to 68, which tells me z is going to be equal to 17. 3y is equal to 30. Therefore, y is equal to 10. There's my x, y, and z values finished. Try 6. For numbers 8 and 9, I would highly recommend that you draw the triangle. Now I'm going to do number 9. If triangle QRS is congruent to MNP. Now, it's not technically required to draw them in the same order. However, it makes it much easier. QRS, M, N, P. There's my congruent triangles. QR is 11, therefore MN is going to be 11. QS is 15, therefore MP is going to be 15. MP is 2x plus 1, so I'm going to put equals 2x plus 1. Measure of angle S is 84. Therefore, I know P will also be 84. Measure of angle R and N are going to be 42, I think that said, 32. And M is 17y minus 4. Find the values of x and y. Okay, I already have my equation for x, which is 15 equals 2x plus 1 on the bottom of the right figure. To solve for y, I need to know what angle M is. Well, angle M, since I have 2 degrees of this triangle already, is going to be equal to 180 minus 32 plus 84, which is going to be 64. 64 degrees is angle M. So 17y minus 4 is 64. I want you to note in this problem, it gave me QR right here. This is completely irrelevant. I do absolutely nothing with that because I don't need to. All right, here's my 2 equations. For the first one, I'm going to subtract 1, so 15 equals 2x. 14 equals 2x. And divide by 2, 7 is equal to x. Step 1 is finished. 17y minus 4 equals 64. So 17y is going to be equal to 68. Y is equal to 4. Finished. Go ahead and try number 8. All right. Proving triangle congruency. Now this is a reference page, and I've broken down what each of these says. One thing to remember, there is no angle side-side congruency theorem. And again, side-side angle is the same thing, it does not exist. So we can use side-side-side, so 3 pairs of congruent sides, side angle side, 2 sides and an included angle, angle side angle, 2 angles, the side in between them included, angle angle side, so in order, or hypotenuse leg. The reason the sides are congruent will be either because it's given, it is the definition of the midpoint, or due to the reflexive property. What that simply says is, if I have triangle, that was not a triangle, that was a square. If I have triangle ABC, BC is equal to BC. Okay, it's itself. That's that last one. The reason the angles are congruent, it's given, they're vertical. If you have parallel lines, you can use alternate interior, alternate exterior, or corresponding angles, or the definition of an angle bisector. All right. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. If triangle ABC, we've already done this, is congruent to DEF, then I know AB will be congruent to DE, BC congruent to EF, CA and FD. Angles A, B, and C are congruent to angles D, E, and F. If you want to fill out the triangle on the right, you're more than welcome to. I have one more problem to look at, and then we'll be done. The directions on this problem say, what is missing to prove the triangles are congruent by the hypotenuse leg theorem? Okay, on these triangles, I need two things, because I have right angles, so I know I can use hypotenuse leg. I know that one of the legs are congruent I know right angles. I'm just going to write them all. And I know the hypotenuses that I'm going to abbreviate there are congruent. All right, right angles. I have right angle markers. This one's good. Check it off. Legs are congruent. I do not have a single tick mark on these legs. However, my triangles, and of course these are going to be much smaller because I'm drawing this limited space, are ABC and DBC. BC is on both of them. These are congruent. So I do know that my legs are congruent. That's the reflexive property. The only thing I need is to know that the hypotenuses are congruent. That is the missing part to prove these are congruent. You might want to know this also for your test. All right, you should have answered everything by now. Here's the answer key. And this is all that we have for Unit 4. We are finished, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.